Hi, my name is Arya and this is my love story. His name is Yash. You know, I first saw him, I didn't like him at all. He was so arrogant and obnoxious. We studied in the same college. I used to think that he is not serious about life. He came from a rich family, so he didn't understand the struggles that common people face. He was not serious about life. He never took his studies seriously. He was always bunking classes and pranking on teachers and other students. Sometimes he would even get into fight with other students. Honestly, I hated his guts. I would get irritated even at the sight of him. I avoided talking to him as much as possible. He used to think that I was too idealistic and I used to think that he was too unruly. For me, my studies were my priority. I wanted to get good grades so that I could get a good job after graduation. My family was not so good financially, so I wanted to help my parents. I didn't want to get involved in anything that would distract me from my goals. I had very few friends in college. I never went out much because of two reasons. One, because I wanted to focus on my studies, and two, because I didn't want to put more financial pressure on my parents. They were already struggling because of my education. Many times, Yash would make fun of me, telling that I am too prudish, that I am nerd who is just lost in books. I didn't care what he thought, but still sometimes it hurt. I couldn't tell him my reasons, so I just ignored him. Because of that, he thought I have a lot of attitude. In short, both of us didn't think very positively about each other, so we maintained our distance. Sometimes, when our eyes met, we would just nod at each other in acknowledgement. That's all. My college life was going really good. I had done very well in my exams and my final year was starting. In final year, a group of students have to submit a project together. And unfortunately, Yash was in my group. I spoke to my teachers to change my group, but they were adamant. They said that my marks will be cut if I did that. The thought of working with him gave me nightmares. I was truly stressed. This project was very important for me, but I couldn't say the same for him. There were four people in our group me, Yash, Aisha, and Alex. Yash and Alex were friends, so each time we met for our project, these both would just goof around and I and Aisha would do all the work. I would get a little angry at them and ask them to help us out. So Yash would start making fun of me. This went on for some time. I was just waiting when this project would be over and I would escape him. One day I was going home from college. It was a rainy day, so I didn't get any auto. I was walking when a bike hit me. I fell down and scraped my knees and my hands. Suddenly, somebody lifted me up. As I looked up to thank that person, it was Yash. He took me to the hospital to get me bandaged and take some necessary injections. He was very worried. He handled me so tenderly. I had never seen this version of him ever before. He was so caring, no sign of goofiness. After everything was done at the hospital, he took me home. On the way home, he asked me again and again if I am fine. I thanked him for all his help. He didn't say anything. After some time, he asked me, "Why do you hate me?" I was surprised for a moment. I said that I don't hate you, but I don't like your attitude toward studies. I don't like that You're not that serious about life. He didn't say anything for some time, then whispered, maybe I don't have a reason to be serious. I looked at him, waiting for him to continue. I was seeing this vulnerable side of him for the first time. He told me that his parents have never paid any attention to him. They always made him feel like none of his accomplishments ever mattered. Before, he used to be best at everything to gain his parents' appreciation. But as time passed, he realized that nothing would be enough. So he just stopped. Maybe now they will pay more attention to him. In that moment, I saw a broken child in him who was craving for his parents' love and affection. I didn't know what to say in that moment, so I stayed quiet. We reached my home and I thanked him again. Something shifted that day. We started being cordial towards each other. As time passed, we became friends and then best friends. When college was about to be over, I realized that I had fallen in love with him. I didn't even realize how this happened, but it did. So I thought of telling him, not in the hopes that he might feel the same for me, but because after college we would go our separate ways and maybe we might never see each other again. So he should at least know. I was sure that he didn't feel anything for me. On the day of graduation, after the ceremony was over, I called him to the side and said that I wished to say something to him. I was nervous. I was trying again and again, but I was not able to utter those words. I took long breaths and calmed my heart and closed my eyes to gather courage and say it. Before I could utter anything, he came close to me and whispered in my ears, I love you more. I opened my eyes and looked at him with shock. He was smiling and looking at me. I couldn't believe him. I asked him, what? I thought that maybe I misheard. He looked at me and laughed a little. He then moved close to me and placed his hand on my cheeks. He looked into my eyes and said, I love you, sweetheart. And I know that you love me too. And then he kissed my forehead and moved away. I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't say anything. I had not imagined this scenario. In my head, I was sure that he didn't feel anything for me. All I could say was, huh? And I went away from there. He didn't follow me because he knew I needed some time to process. After that, we spoke on call later that night, where I confessed my love to him. We have been together ever since that day. I didn't know that a goofy person like him could love someone so deeply. I feel blessed to have him in my life. Of course, we had a lots of ups and downs. We fought, and once we even came on the verge of breakup, but we survived and learned. Today we have been married for many years. We are still madly in love with each other and living a very happy life. I'm so glad that the hate turned to a love of a lifetime. I pray to God that He's mine in every lifetime.